She is a Canadian superstar. She's a singer, songwriter, reality TV star, but her passion is using her voice literally. And she's an ambassador for Meagan's Hug. Welcome to My Kind Canadian this week. It's Kim Stockwood. Hi, Kim.
Well, what an intro. Wow. That's very sweet. Yeah. I haven't felt much like any of those things recently, but yes.
I loved your reality show. I watched it all the time. You had little people at that time, and I was like, wow, she's doing it all.
The Shay Show?
Yes.
A documentary of a band breaking up.
But it was lovely to see you guys interact and like the reality. I think you should be the first Canadian reality show. You should be dubbed that, right?
Oh, well, we talked about it. What are we going to do in the future? What will we do next? But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was emotional too. But we got to go on tour with Willie Nelson for 2 weeks and film it, kind of. So it was pretty incredible. But yeah, looking back on now, my kids were, in the high chair. They're 18 and 16 now.
Wow.
And I embarrass them every now and then by just like, hey, look at this. And they're like, Mom, you had us on TV eating? I was like, of course.
Oh, they were cutie pies.
Yeah.
So in 2019, you and Denise recorded a beautiful single, Love is a River. And how has your idea of charity and volunteering and the role of kindness, how has that played with your involvement?
Well, I think in some ways it feeds your soul and your heart. And, I've been very blessed in my life, and I think anything that I can do to help or give back or make someone else feel good, that is what you have to do. And, I always feel weird talking about things that I do, because I truthfully feel like I never do enough. And I always say to Denise, I want to do more, but I don't really know sometimes what I can do. So, the little bit that I do, I thank you for saying that it's something. But, with regards to being involved with Meagan's Hug, you try and say no to Denise Bevanek. You can't. You just cannot. She is a force. Superhuman, beautiful woman. And, it's very bizarre. I was thinking about when I first met her and how I got involved. I was working at a radio station, and the three hosts were asked to, I was on a morning show, and the three of the hosts were asked to be a part of one of the gala fundraisers that she did. And so that was probably 13 years ago.
Wow.
And, it was that night that I met her, and I was like, wow, look what this woman has survived and built around probably the worst thing that could ever happen to you. And so that night, just talking to her and her vision of what she wanted to do, my involvement started then. I left the radio station probably about a year later, and then just stayed with Denise. So I say it was one of the best things to come out of that experience, was meeting her. But yeah, I've been involved for a long time. And again, I'm not sure how much I do, but I'm there for her. And, you mentioned the song that we wrote.
Beautiful.
She's a beautiful singer. And when she was like 18, 19, she recorded demos, and she has a voice in so many ways. But her singing over the past while has been kind of put on the back burner. And, we were hanging out, and I was like, why don't we try and write a song? Because music does help. Music will help. And she came up with this idea of Love is a River. And we sat down over a couple of times and wrote it. And I'm like, yep, we're going to release it. I don't know what's going to happen, but anytime anyone listens to it, all proceeds go to Meagan's Hug. And, with the state of the music business, that may be about $3.
But the important thing, it all goes.
It all goes, and it's karmically good, I hope.
And it is a beautiful song. I was listening to it and I had tears well up in my eye, because to your point, it's the most horrific thing that could ever happen to a parent, anyone. And then to make such a good situation and such a helpful, inspiring situation, you can't just be in awe of her. And then I watched the video and the hug around the hospital. Tell me what that's like to witness that, because I had shivers just watching a video of it.
It is as unbelievable as you think it would be. The first time I did it, I did it just myself, and with, not my family is what I mean. And when you walk, it has changed over the years where we start from, and where we always end up at sick kids. But, the first time, it's a 5-kilometer walk. And it started before from Ontario Place. It started from Fort York the past few years. You walk, and when you get to sick kids, the thousands of people link arms and surround the hospital. And on a count of, 20, 10, whatever, everybody, hugs the hospital. And the first time I did it, looking up and seeing kids and their parents looking out to know that everybody outside was sending them as much love and prayers and positivity as they could. That was just incredible. It was incredible. And so then the next year I got my husband to come, and then my kids came, and we all got involved.
And so Denise calls it a circle of hope. Mm-hmm. Because hope changes everything. And she said that is what got her through, her and her family, the hope and the power of a hug. And I find that so powerful because obviously the state we're in, we're not obviously social distance. We're not in a hugging kind of mode. Yeah. And I wonder, do you believe in that magic? Do you believe in that magic?
Absolutely. The past couple of years, I've been digging deep, like all of us, to try and find the magic again, because it's been an awful time. But there are those little seeds of beauty and magic and kindness that you find. And I think you almost have to link the dots between them to get you through, to still believe that things are possible. But I still believe in it. Like I said, it's tough the past couple of years finding it as much, but it is still there. You just have to, dig deep sometimes.
And soon the power of hug will be back in.
Yes.
I believe so. So Kim, we have had parallel lives. So we live a lane apart, but I have, which is crazy.
Who knew that Zoom almost wouldn't work if you're across the street from someone? The problems we had getting this to work.
Exactly.
Because I could almost wave at you.
Yes, we go into the lane, we'd have our interview. So we've intersected on many times. So one of my favorite stories is my husband had a grease fire on the barbecue, and we had billowing smoke. And I'll never forget. So we heard,
so cute, by the way.
Yeah. Well, thank you. He'll like to hear that from you. And so everyone ran in with fire extinguishers at the ready, right? And you were one of the first people at my back alley, and I'm ready. And I thought, wow, this girl, she's a singer-songwriter and like part Firewoman.
I was like, I don't even know how to use this thing. I'm full of, air, but that's not what you need right now.
You look very professional. You were at the ready. And I was like, that's outstandingly impressive that she could make it down the lane and find her fire extinguisher, like not in the bottom of something. Long story short, we have fire extinguishers everywhere. So we are ready. So that was one of our more recent points. And I love that story. I always tell, she is outstanding. Like, so I feel like that could be one of your callings later, a part-time gig.
I'm looking for
like people would
now.
Be right. Yeah. And then you could sing after, right? So, and I feel like that would be a really memorable experience. And then we were on
Firewoman.
The sing, boom, there you go. Look at all the ideas that come out, right? A singing Firewoman. I think you'd be fantastic. And you could have your guitar in the back. And anyways, I got an outfit. I got it all planned for you. And then another time we were doing Chatelain's 80th birthday.
Oh,
And I was, yes, I was covering it. And it was at the Windsor Arms.
yes.
And I look up and these beautiful three ladies on a balcony singing with these angelic voices. So it was crazy busy. Everyone was, partying, talking. And then the music stopped. And then all of a sudden, you three voices just came out and everyone just looked up and it was like this, that's really terrible. I won't be hiring me.
No, that was.
And it was just beautiful. Do you remember that event?
Yes, I do. I remember that people had to, because we were up next to the bathroom.
Yes.
People had to walk on our stage to get to the bathroom. And I was like, I would look over and we're almost finished a song. And I was like,
wait a moment. That's too funny.
So everyone was coming through and stepping over the cables because we were on the
Yes, it was like a Romeo and Juliet balcony, right?
Juliet up on the windowsill box thingy, right? So it wasn't that big, but I remember that. Yeah, that was.
I remember it like the heavens parting and looking up to see you, and then meanwhile people were tramping over there to get to the bathroom quickly. But anyways, it was a beautiful, and I remember that.
Were you working that event, or were you just?
I was for Toronto Living, and it was just it was fun. They don't make those parties anymore, do they?
No. It's so bizarre, isn't it?
It was a time and place, and for me, I think it was magical, like because it was exciting, and everyone was there, and it was for a great cause, and it was celebrating women, which I love, right? So that was, and there was all kinds of women. And here's my third story: we did Talk TV together.
Oh my gosh, I met so many of my close friends on Talk TV.
Do you remember when Ben Mulrooney was in a TV, his head,
and he was in university? He was still going to university in Ottawa, wasn't he? In Ottawa?
That's right. Yes. So back then, like we had the big monitors, the beta, and then it was just on the ground, and it was his head talking. And there was, I think, 4 or 5 guests, and there was like 2 hosts. I can't remember their names, and we were talking about men and cheating. And I mean, I had the arrogance of youth inflection because I was like, of course, but I had no experience. But anyways, you were there and you were the voice of reason. And it was delightful now that I recall, because I was like, wow, I don't know, but it's very impactful. It's enough for me to find you down the lane and make you do this interview. So there you go. So you, unbeknownst to you, 3 events that we have connected on. And now I find you are a kind Canadian. What delight is that? The signs have been there for years.
Yeah, I think. I think you're a kind Canadian, that you're doing this and you're highlighting kindness, because it needs to be highlighted. We need to talk about it. I was thinking of, about when we're going to do this interview, and I was like, well, I support charities and I do some things. Like I said, I don't feel like I do enough, but talking about kindness, I could talk about kindness all day. And I was thinking, regularly, my husband and I will watch The Last Story on ABC News. I don't know if you've ever seen it at 7. The Last Story is usually a good news story. And it's about somebody doing something else for someone that, doesn't cost them money. It's not a hard thing to do. It's just one small little gesture that changes someone's life. And do you follow the good news movement?
I do. I was just going to say that we're on the same wavelength again. And I read that, and it's extraordinary because people are doing it altruistically, and the ripple effect is beautiful. And you being a celebrity, I find when people see you doing things, I think they see the positive effect it has on people, myself included. And I hope that people are influenced and inspired to want to do something and start small, because obviously this is a bizarre time to start to volunteer. Taking your neighbor's garbage. Pick something up off the ground. Say something nice to someone. I feel there's these small gestures because people are very overwhelmed with everything going on. But there's so many little small things that can make someone's day. And like all these lovely things you've done for me, and you would have not known had I not shared it with you. You saved my house. You saved my home.
Well, I didn't get to use the fire extinguisher, but I'm ready. If you ever need me again, I am there. Yeah. But it was last weekend. So there's this thing called the box tree moth. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's infiltrated our street. And so my husband researched it, like our boxwoods, you know, whatever.
Yep.
So researched it, got this spray, went and did it. And he just went down to our neighbor's house and he said, this is what's going on with your hedges. Do you want me to spray your things? And it was such a simple thing, but she appreciated that so much. And she came up the other day with these beautiful little chocolates. And I was like, that's so unnecessary, but that's so nice. You know, it's just a small little thing that my husband did. And it meant so much. And, you know, many years ago, I loved this story about giving. We were in Newfoundland and my husband and I took our kids to a fast food restaurant. I know, I won't say what one, but we went and there was a gentleman there and it was the middle of the winter, very cold out. And he came in and it looked like he had all his belongings with him. And we're going, oh, you know, does he have a home? What's his story? And he sat down and he started taking out paintings. And you know, he was looking at them. Then he took out a little canvas and he started painting in the middle of this restaurant.
Wow.
And my husband went over and you know, or actually, I don't know if he went up to him or if he was at the counter, said, you know, can I buy you lunch today? And the gentleman said, oh, no. That's totally sweet of you, but that's fine. And my husband said, okay, you know, I just would love to buy you lunch. And he's like, no, thank you so much. And we were sitting next to him with the kids. And about 10 minutes later, he comes over with this little painting that he did. Oh. And he gave it to us. And he said, it's not in the getting, but in the giving. Oh. And we still have that little print. And I'm just like, you know, we probably were assuming that he needed a lot of help or, you know, you should never assume anything. But the fact that was what gave him joy, and maybe he didn't have a lot, maybe he did. But what brought him joy was giving us that little painting.
And I bet you what brought him joys is that you acknowledged him, right? Maybe. I feel that everyone wants to be acknowledged. You don't know anyone's story. You really don't. And now, to your point, his giving, like, I feel like I think about that all day long now.
Yeah. It's not in the getting, but in the giving. I was like,
beautiful.
Wow. It was like one of those moments where it's almost like someone slapped me in the face. I was like, here I am at this fast food restaurant with my kids. And this gentleman just totally made me screech to a halt and realize what it's really about.
So Kim,
that was a great
thank you for providing the soundtrack to Meagan's Hug, where hope changes everything. And this is where entertainment and charity meet.